Good afternoon, everyone. I'm so glad to be here. Thank you for inviting me. And thank you also for including me and several of my staff on the task force and the implementation task force. It's been very important for us since NIU is such a huge part of the population of DeKalb County, which is what we serve. We want to make sure that we're providing every kind of support and service that we can to you all and to all the students here. So thank you. Okay, Safe Passage, like I said, we're always here to help. We are available 24 hours. We've been serving survivors since 1981. All of our services are free and confidential. We have absolute confidentiality when it comes to victims of sexual assault. So anytime anybody contacts us without a release of information, we can never disclose any information about them to anyone. All our counselors are master's educated. We have trauma-informed services, and we provide counseling, comfort, healing, and support and services to men, women, and children. We also serve what we call significant others, so family members and partners, anybody who's related to a victim or a survivor, we will work with them as well. Okay, I'm going to go through the list of services that we provide. Medical advocacy, and this is something that we often provide to students from NIU. Any student, any person that shows up at an emergency room in this county at either Kishwaukee or Valley West, the emergency room calls us and we send an advocate out. And the advocate is there to support the victim. So we're there to stay with the victim if that's what the victim wants. We make calls for them. We provide clothes for them to leave in if their clothes have to be taken into custody for evidence. And we make sure that they reach home safely. We're there through the whole process. So a medical exam, and especially an exam where they're collecting evidence, can take a very long time and can be very, very traumatic for people, especially if they have just experienced a sexual assault or a violent attack of any kind from somebody they know, interpersonal relationships. So medical advocacy can begin with a 24-hour call to our hotline. We are there 24 hours, 365 days a year. Is that how many days there are in a year? Yes. And like I said, we are also called every time a victim shows up at a local hospital. Criminal justice or legal advocacy is another important service that we provide. We have advocates that help victims who report the crime to the police and go to the court. So we help them if they want us to come with them for an investigative interview at a police department. We can't be in the room while they're being interviewed, but we stay there and provide support to them. If they want to take a break, when they're ready to leave, if they're scared before they walk in, we're there with them to try to help them. Our advocates also help victims and their family understand what their different options are. And we keep them informed as cases proceed. The criminal justice system, just like the healthcare system, maybe more so, I think, is so intimidating to people who are involved in it. People who are victims, family members, it can be extremely overwhelming, and again, it can be traumatic when you don't understand what's going on. You want something to happen to the person who hurt you, but you don't know what to do, and you don't have a whole lot of standing in a case. So the advocate is there to help you understand what your options are, to help you understand what's happening, to keep track of what's happening in the court proceedings, because usually they don't happen very quickly. There's lots of continuances. And people who are victims and survivors have so much anxiety about that. So it's advocacy. I can't say enough about how important advocacy is. We do counseling, and we do what people do in counseling. Again, it's very confidential. We will not release any information about anybody to anybody unless they sign a release of information. Our services are trauma informed. It just is unbelievable how much trauma impacts what people do and how they go on to live in their lives, and how nobody really understands what that is, including them. And so a lot of counseling centers around helping them understand that their reactions are normal given what they've been through, and walking through with them through the whole process and what do you need to do to get normalcy back, to get balance back in your life. We can do counseling in person and by phone. We do see quite a few students from Northern, from NIU, and we don't have any space on campus except for at the Newman Center. We do have space there. We have an agreement with the Newman Center, and I think we're currently seeing about 6 or 7 people there right now. Prevention education. Several of the speakers, Dr. Baker, Michelle, all of them have said education is key. What we do in prevention, being that it's the foundation of power-based personal violence, we are really doing a lot of work to help to try to teach the next generation that power-based personal violence is not acceptable. And so we are working in schools every day when school is in session. We're in from kindergarten all the way through college. We offer a lot of different programs. Bystander training. We are teaching Green Dot, which I don't know if anybody's heard of that bystander training, but it has a good evidence base behind it. We're also in our prevention work doing some groups with boys in high school. We're identifying boys who have some kind of influence in the school, or we're also working at KEC, which is the school where the students who can't function in a regular public school attend KEC. It's an alternative school, and we're doing a group there. We're doing groups with young men, teaching healthy masculinity, teaching gender roles and how gender roles are so skewed in our society, and healthy relationships, what you need to do, how you can influence other people, other guys that you know. We've just started that this year, and we're really excited about the reaction that we're getting both from the boys and from the schools, and hope to expand that. We also talked to a number of people here at NIU. Our prevention people sometimes are invited by professors to come and speak in their classrooms. We're doing some work with the student athletes and doing quite a bit of work with the Greek row students. So we have a variety of ways. Anybody who would be interested in having prevention education, Green Dot training, all you have to do is call. It's free. We'll come out and we will do it. It's so important to touch everybody who interacts with really anybody, but especially with students and especially with children, athletes, police officers, coaches, anybody that works with people and comes across interpersonal violence, which is so devastating in people's lives. We hope to teach them how to approach power-based personal violence in a coordinated and concerted way, and in a way that's going to help or at least not hurt victims. Because a lot of times when victims report, we talked a lot today about how reluctant victims are to report abuse that happens to them. That's sexual assault, that's dating violence, that's domestic violence. very, very reluctant. So all the people who work with those people or come across those people, doctors, ministers, we want all of them to be educated and know how to talk to people and how to help them through that most difficult experience in their lives sometimes. Another thing we do that a lot of people don't know is our partner abuse intervention program. This is a weekly psychoeducational group where we assist perpetrators of domestic violence. We are not working with sex offenders in this particular program. And we are helping them to recognize and understand that violence is a learned behavior, usually something that they've been exposed to, but our culture is full of it. And so feeling like violence is okay is a very almost a normative way that people look at it sometimes. Our groups are run by specially trained facilitators, and we currently operate about 7 groups, 5 with male offenders, and 2 with female offenders. So lots of people don't think that Safe Passage, which is a very, very strong victim advocacy program, would be working with offenders. But I think Kristen said, it's really, really important that we not only teach men and engage men, but also try to teach offenders who, like I said, it's a learned behavior. They can learn to behave differently. And so we see a lot of lights going off in a lot of the men that we serve and a lot of the women that we serve. They're 2 different populations, obviously, and they respond to it very differently. But lots of them have experienced abuse in their lives, abuse as children. And it's really important that one of the ways of really engaging, especially men, is to talk about what happens to children when they're exposed to violence in their homes, and getting in touch with the feelings that they had as children. And most men, not all, but most, really want the best for their children. So that's really something that we can use to engage and to keep them coming. We serve about, close to 100 offenders in this program every year. Safe Passage operates an emergency shelter for victims of domestic violence. They're usually fleeing imminent danger. They need they need a secure location. They need to be somewhere where their abuser cannot find them. We currently have, today, we have 10 women and 19 children in our domestic violence shelter at Safe Passage. There are a lot of children being exposed to domestic violence, and it's a very, very damaging experience for them. We also run a very successful transitional program, and so we have 6 apartments on site on our campus down on 4th Street, where women who've been in shelter can move into a transitional apartment and live there for up to 2 years, where they get supported housing, basically. But we're always working with them to help them get on their feet and be able to live independently, which is very difficult. Sometimes they go back to the offender, they come back. It's very scary. There's tons of barriers that these women deal with. But our goal is to help them establish independence, to deal with the trauma, and to learn that they deserve to be treated well. So that's a very successful program, and a lot of women obtain housing, they obtain education, and they are able to move on with their children, support themselves and their children. So that's also a really important program. So from 2012 to 2014, we served 1,300 adults, 561 kids. all of those having 22,152 days of shelter. That's how we that's how we report to our to our funders what services we do. Prevention conducted, like I said, that's a very important piece of work that we do at Safe Passage. Lots of hours, lots of presentations, lots of schools. We received over 12,000 hotline calls and helped people. That was the other thing I forgot to mention with legal advocacy. And we work with a number of students from NIU to help them obtain orders of protection when they have an issue. Shayna will talk more about advocacy here on campus, but this is the advocacy that happens out in the community, in the criminal justice system. For sexual assault services, we have way fewer victims. Again, reporting is a huge issue, reluctance to report. But as we're doing prevention, we're not only talking to kids, but we're talking to adults. We're in churches. This year we started working with hair salon professionals, with doctors, so that we're talking to people so they can recognize the signs when people are experiencing abuse or sexual assault. So we're doing a lot in our community. And much of that, like I said, NIU is such a big part of the population in DeKalb County that it's really important, and we really, really value the relationship we have. So if you know of anyone who is in need of our free and confidential services, this is the number to call. There's some brochures on the table and also some keychains and nail files. If you want to pass them out to students who need the number for either sexual, dating violence, domestic violence, they just need someone to talk to. They need to know what their options are. I really appreciate the opportunity to be here today, and thank you.